are back. Let's go. We're
Let's
talking
get it.
SEC tonight. Whew. Best conference fan, as everyone knows. It is. I'm a Big Ten fan. I'll admit it. SEC is the best conference. No argument really to be made.
Right.
Dylan, good to have you back, buddy.
What's up, dude? Thanks for having me. Go Vols.
Of course, Dylan's a big Vols fan here. You can see he's got his orange on. He's repping the Vols.
Hold up. We got the whole fit, man. You know, it's game time. We got to get ready for football season. Got to get that sun hat because you know it's going to be hot out there. Let's go Vols.
Yo, all right. Dylan's ready. I love it. All right. So Dylan's gonna talk Vols with us. He's gonna lead us through Vol Nation. We've also got my buddy Lyndon joining us for the first time. Lyndon, thank you for joining us.
Heck yeah, I'm excited to be here. Appreciate you guys having me on. I'll also give a big go Vols.
Let's go.
And I'm gonna try to use my brain this podcast and not follow my heart. And give you guys the most honest predictions and expertise that I can, but no promises. I might my blood runs deep orange, so I might
all right.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, that's good. That's good. I think that's good to say. Yeah, all fair warning. All three of us have gone to Knoxville at some points in our lives in terms of schooling. Two of us live in Knoxville right now. So whatever we say, take it with a grain of salt, you know. But, definitely a lot of orange blood going here. So, all right, SEC, let's go. So, SEC, they're still doing the two divisions. One thing we talked about with the ACC, I thought it was cool, is the ACC is doing away with the divisions this year. So it's just the top two teams go to the conference championship. So basically, it's probably going to be Clemson, Florida State. I think it'd be cool if everyone does that. I think eventually that's what's going to happen. Like the Big Ten definitely needs to do it. You know, we talked about that, how like the one side is like Wisconsin and Iowa. And the other side is, you know, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan State. But the SEC has always been, I mean, not always. The West has been more dominant recently, but it's still pretty even, you know, with Georgia. This year, it seems to be very even. This year, it seems to me it's like Georgia, UT, Alabama, LSU. Like those are by far the four best teams. With any argument, Dylan, from you there, do you think is that fair to say?
Man, it's the top and the bottom of both conferences. The top three teams, you know, we got Florida, Georgia, and Tennessee are always the top three usually in the East, and then the bottom three are usually the same. You know, Vanderbilt, South Carolina. South Carolina might jump Florida this year, which should be exciting. They've actually have a promising, you know, I mean, huge win against, you know, our Vols. We won't talk about that though, because it's going to be revenge this year. But I mean, and then, you know, Texas A&M coming in on the West, I think that gave them another obviously huge program. But normally it's in my years, it's been Auburn, you know, Alabama and LSU at the top. And then kind of the bottom is the Mississippi States, the Ole Misses. So kind of like three top, three bottom. But yeah, I think they look more even, especially at the top. Like the top two teams in each conference they're all contenders this year. So It's exciting. It's very exciting.
Yep. Lyndon, are you kind of agreeing there? Do you think it's kind of these top 4 or 5 teams and then it's a big gap between the rest?
Yeah, I think I agree with both you guys there. I think both divisions are pretty even. I know last 10 years or so, I feel like the West has definitely been the stronger side. And I think the main reason for that is because Tennessee's been so down. And because teams like Auburn and A&M have been pretty good on a consistent basis. But I think with the emergence of UT last couple of years, I think that kind of levels the playing field. But I kind of see it the same way. I think it's those 4 teams: Tennessee, Georgia, LSU, Bama. I think there's a couple of wild cards in there that I'm sure we'll touch on later. But I think the top of the SEC is going to be pretty exciting. So pumped about it.
Yep. All right. Yeah. Definitely going to be some really good games between those teams when they play each other. And then obviously the conference championship there. But let's jump into it. Obviously, the favorite of the SEC is Georgia. Georgia, you're defending 2-time national champs. They went undefeated. I mean, they were very dominant last year. They really dominated almost everybody they played. had a close game here and there. I mean, not really. I mean, even the UT game, they won by like 14. It felt like more.
It was a closer game. It was a closer game. Come on, give them some credit.
Than most games. I mean, the Missouri game was like weirdly close. Otherwise, though, it was, I mean, they were by far the best team. They lost their quarterback. I don't know how big of a deal that's going to be. I couldn't tell how good he was, if it was more just like game management and had an amazing team. I've heard some people say that they might have an even better offense this year with this new quarterback and some of the receivers they brought in the transfer portal. But we'll see. Their over under is 11.5. So for those that haven't watched the other shows yet, these win total over unders only include the regular season. So no conference championship, no bowl games. So just the 12 games. So basically, if you think they're going to go over, that means they're going undefeated. 11.5. Georgia, they're at -110 to win the conference. So I think this is the only one so far of all the conferences we've seen that's at minus money instead of like plus 150, 170, something like that. So that's a pretty big favorite. Just to make the playoffs, they're at -270. So they're really expected to at least make the playoffs. And then even just to win it all, to be national champions again, they're at 220. So not even like super high odds to win it all. So that really surprises me.
They're at -220 to win the national championship?
Plus 220.
Okay. But -270 to get into the playoffs.
Yes.
They're a shoe-in is what basically Vegas thinks.
Yeah. We'll talk about this when we get to Bama, but I put a little something on Bama and Clemson to both make it together with some good odds, I think. But Georgia, again, so they're definitely favored. 11.5. Basically, if they're going to go over, they're going undefeated. I'll kind of keep it short for me. Their schedule is super easy. People have been making jokes about how much of a cupcake schedule it is. They play a bunch of bad teams. They even got Georgia Tech. I mean, I know that's an every year thing for them, but that's their out of conference cupcake. I mean, maybe Florida will be tough because it's the fun rivalry game, but otherwise, I think they're going to, stomp Missouri and Ole Miss. So at UT is the only tough game really for them. Basically, can they come to Neyland? Can they, we'll see. Can they beat the 108,000 or whatever? Fans going nuts. I don't know. That's going to be the game. That's what we'll talk about, basically. I think I'm going to pick Georgia to win. I'm going to have them go undefeated. I'm going to have them going 12-0 again. I just think they're dominant until someone beats them.
Get out of here, bro.
Until someone beats them, then I'll pick under. But Dylan, let's go with you next. What say you on Georgia?
Man, their schedule is trash, man. Georgia last year did the same thing. Not to say that, these SEC, they play the SEC, so it's not like any of these are gimmies. The toughest games I see like that might catch them up. Like, I don't know, like Auburn, like at Auburn. I don't know if Auburn's going to have anything going early in the year. Like just, that maybe, they got South Carolina coming to them at home. I think they're going to handle South Carolina early. And then obviously, they got Ole Miss right before Tennessee. That's kind of like their two games. Now, of course, it's early. These teams are all recruiting at a high level in the SEC. So we could see some different, things shake out. But God, dude, 11.5 wins. I mean,
yeah.
My story has to make sense. And for it to make sense, I cannot say that they're going to go over. Because I do think that Tennessee is going to get the victory this year at Neyland Stadium. I do think that they get the revenge. That game last year was played in a hostile environment. The noise level was at an all-time high, and yet, and we still had some questionable. And there's some questionable calls. I'm biased, but still questionable. And also, just clicking up with the receivers. There was a few overthrown balls in that game that could have ended up in huge touchdowns early. That just like, okay, if they're playing at home and their offense is humming and the crowd is quiet, can Georgia handle the crowd noise? I don't know. I don't really know. We beat Bama last year. We've got that big win. So anyway, it's not about the balls yet, but I'm going to say they go 11-1. They lose to Tennessee. They still go to the playoff. Go give me that -270. They're definitely in there, I think, this year. And you know what? If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll eat it. So, but yeah, give me under on the 11.5.
All right. So then, so you'd have two SEC teams in the playoff then with.
Of course, is there any reason that there shouldn't be two SEC? There should be three in every playoff out of four. I mean, we're talking about the best conference.
All right, Lyndon, what are your thoughts on Georgia then?
So this one's pretty tough for me because I think Georgia will take a slight step back this year. I know that you mentioned a lot of people are saying that they're actually going to be better offensively because a lot of people are high on Carson Beck, their new quarterback, and their transfer receivers. But I think I hate to say it because I freaking hate Stetson Bennett, but I think a lot of people kind of undersell how good he really was as a college quarterback. I think I don't think he was just some like system quarterback that Kirby could replace anyone with and succeed. So I'll be curious to see how Beck does. And also, yes, their defense is gonna reload and be probably nasty again, but they did lose like 5 guys to the draft, including a few first rounders. And I don't think that's easy. Even if you replace that with 5 5-stars, I don't think that's something that's just gonna fix itself overnight. So I think they'll take a step back. And then that being said, I'm looking at their schedule and they pretty much played almost 11 cupcakes and then Tennessee. But I think 11.5 is a lot to ask. And looking back at last year, I think a lot of people will forget like that Missouri game. They were really lucky to win that against a pretty bad team. Also, Ohio State, I know that was a playoff game, but they were extremely fortunate to win that game as well. So I have to think somewhere in that 12-game schedule, Carson Beck will throw a couple picks. Their defense will be sharp. I think they'll drop one. So I'll get to that. I'll get to their one loss in a second, but I think I have them going 11-1, still making the playoff, but I think they'll be a little bit worse this year.
Yeah. Okay, so going 11-1, maybe slipping up to a team they shouldn't slip up to, but still making the playoffs. So we've all got them in the playoffs. Put the under there. I can see that happening, like you said, with the Missouri game that was close and it shouldn't have been close. Get complacent. You get complacent after winning, the national championship already. You think you're just, you're going to kind of walk over these teams and, like you said, a couple interceptions here and then all of a sudden it's tied. So you never know what could happen. But yeah, like I said, I've been hearing some things that their offense could just be even better and even nastier. So we'll see how that goes. I think they're gonna have enough time to get it together because, like you said, they don't play a tough game until the end. Or not the end, but towards the end. Okay. Lyndon, would you still feel comfortable taking them to win it all at 220, or do you think the safe bet would be to wait for them to lose a game somewhere in the season like you're thinking and then jump on it when it jumps up to 300-400?
I think I'd wait for them to lose a game. If I were just picking right now, like I don't think they'll three-peat. But I think there would be value maybe if they dropped one, just because I know, like we all said, we think they're still going to make the playoffs. So I'd probably wait till they maybe get upset, hopefully a little bit earlier in the year, and then sprinkling a little bit on their title odds then.
All right. Well, there you go. There we have it. That's Georgia. Some good advice. I agree. I think if you think they're going to lose at some point, might as well wait because the odds are going to jump up, obviously, if they do. Especially if Tennessee and Alabama stay undefeated. Their odds are just going to get better and better. So, all right. That's our take on Georgia. I'm over. Lyndon and Dylan are under. We're going to move to Tennessee next. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick break. We've got like 6 minutes left, but I feel like we're going to go over on UT talk. So let's take a quick break now. We'll come back. We'll talk UT. Dylan's going to tell us why they're going to win it all. And we'll keep going. All right, welcome back. We're about to talk balls. Let's go. UT football.
Let's go, baby. Rocky Top.
We are excited. I know y'all are. UT.
I'm excited,
back, baby. It's been
so back.
I feel like it's been a long time since they've done a lot. They still didn't win the SC championship or anything, but they were really good last year. They were one of the top teams. They almost made the playoffs. They were just one game away, basically. Obviously,
injury away, man. I mean, if Hendon Hooker stays healthy, I mean, it's tragic, but I mean, it's college football. You know, that's what you gotta stay healthy.
It was tough, and that was a sad injury at the very end and everything. They probably would have lost even if I feel like the game was over.
I don't know, man.
Maybe not, but it was just it was that was sad. But
let me live my fantasy.
But yeah. Well, you know what happened was I didn't believe in them all year, and then I finally bought into them before the South Carolina game. They were like 900 odds to win it all or something, and I put $10 on them, and they lost. So
stay away, Dawson. Jeez, you jinxed.
Seriously,
lay off.
I will stay away. Their over under this year on total wins is 9.5. So basically, you got to beat everybody, maybe lose to Bama and Georgia, and that's it. That'll give you 10 wins, or beat one of them and maybe slip up somewhere else. They're at plus 1,500 to win the conference, so like, really good money to win the conference there. Plus 700 to just make the playoffs. And then plus 4,000 to win it all. So really, really juicy. If you like that, that's a good degenerate special right there to win it all. And Joe Melton to win the Heisman.
There's certain things. I don't know if you can combine the SEC championship and the national championship in a parlay. That Vegas is privy to that. Can you combine that?
Every sports book's different, so we'd have to just kind of test it out and see what happens.
There's some of those that are like corresponding bets that like you can't, like I did it with the Vols basketball, and they were not letting me do like them winning a Sweet 16 appearance and a final, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't do like, so there's some kind of like things. But anyway, but Joe Milton for Heisman, I mean,
yeah,
plus 2,500. Go ahead and jump on it. Let's go. I mean, that's great value.
Yeah, so DraftKings won't let me parlay those two things together, SEC championship and national championship. So probably not. But either way, Dylan, I'm gonna let you take it away. UT 9.5 over under. What are they gonna do? Are they gonna go undefeated? They're gonna just destroy everybody. What's gonna happen?
Oh my God, brother. This is, man, it's just so good.
The hype is real.
We live this in Knoxville, and we've lived the bad years. So I started at UT in 2010 and came in at not the best time. Been through Derek Dooley, Fear the Pants. That guy sucked. Butch Jones, brick by brick. That guy fucking blew. We've had like top recruiting, like, through this whole like time period. We've had so many studs come through here and just go to waste. And now we have Josh Heupel, and oh my God, the balls are fucking back. Like, we have one of the best offenses in the country, dude. Like, there's no question that we have one of the best offenses in the country. Now, the defense is, we brought some people in. We brought some coaches in. We're hopefully going to shore that up. That being said, dude, it's going to be great every Saturday. I am circling that Georgia game on the schedule this year. I think we get them. I really do. Now, do I think the Vols are going to go undefeated? I don't. I really don't. Unfortunately, I don't think that we're going to get Bama on the road at Alabama. That's a huge revenge game. If we do, look out. We're going all the way. But I do think that there is a hiccup there. So my prediction for the Vols, and that doesn't mean we don't win a national championship. Don't get me wrong. I'm still going to say that we are a national championship contender, losing to Alabama in the regular season with one loss. We could still go to the SEC championship, get a revenge game against them, and we're in there. So that kind of coming together here. Cavaliers, we're going to just destroy them next week. I can't wait to see that. And the game that kind of scares me more than most of them before Bama is Florida.
Yep, dude. Yep.
We always play them close, and it's at Florida. So, like, it's just scary to look at that. And especially with them at a 5.5 win total this year, it's just like, all right, don't overlook them. Please don't overlook them, Tennessee. Get the job done. So anyway, I think that we're going to, and then we have Texas A&M at home. Oh my God, that is going to be a great game. Hopefully we just wipe them. But I do think that we go to Alabama. Saban's a great coach, one of the best of all time, probably the best college coach of all time. And I don't think that we get them 2 years in a row. So my Vols buddies that are watching this, I'm sorry. I just got to be honest here. I want to be truthful how I feel for the bettors that are actually following this. But I do think we beat Georgia. Now, that's going to leave us what, 11-1? So yeah, give me the over. Give me 11. Give me 11-1 for the Vols, and we're back, baby.
All right, man. I love it. All right, Dylan got the over. Lyndon, how are you feeling? Are you confident as Dylan?
All right, Dylan, that got me fired up. Not gonna lie.
Let's go.
So I will say I'm 25 years old, about to be 26. I've been a Vols fan my entire life, and I think this is the first time in any season I can remember that we're actually going into the season as a relevant team. I know last year was great, but a lot of people forget we were unranked last year. Like, I was just hoping to get like 8 or 9 wins and like keep the ball rolling. We obviously exceeded expectations. So this is the first time that I can ever remember where we're like, we're there, we're back. So I'm obviously extremely excited about it. And I think it's going to be a really fascinating year. Obviously, I know we touched on Joe Milton. We all know that he has incredible upside. Still relatively like unproven, obviously, but I think.
Hey man, they beat Clemson pretty well. Come on, he's proven.
Yeah, I know, yeah, small sample size,
right,
but like
right.
I'm high on him. I think he's gonna have a great year. And I think 25-1 Heisman odds, like, hammer that. I really like that bet. But I think what's interesting to me, I think the team this year has more. I think it's a better overall team, better depth. I think they have more quality players all across the board. I think the one question mark is whether they have like the firepower that we had last year. Obviously, we had Hyatt, we had Tillman. I know he was banged up a lot of the year. Hendon Hooker, like a lot of those just immediate impact players that could change the game in one play. And we have a lot of guys who I think could be that guy this year, but they'll need a few players to step up. So it'll be interesting. And just looking at the schedule, obviously we have Alabama, we got Georgia. Those are the two big ones. And then I see this like cluster of 3 or 4 games, really Florida, A&M, and I know it's Kentucky, but that game at Kentucky, I think those 3 are kind of those games where if Tennessee doesn't come ready to play, they could easily drop one, and they make me a little nervous. And I'm actually going down to Gainesville in 3 weeks. And last time I was there was 2017 when we lost on that Hail Mary, and I swore that I would never go back to that place again, but here we are. I have revived faith, so I don't know if I can handle another loss down there. But in terms of the over/under 9.5, I think Dylan, I agree with you. I think Alabama. I know we're going to get to them in a second. I don't think they're like the national championship team that we're used to seeing Alabama being. However, I think going to Alabama after what happened last year, that's going to be a hornet's nest. Saban, he's going to have them ready to play. I don't expect us to win that game, although I think it'll be a pretty good game. Georgia, I think we get them. I think that's the one loss I referenced earlier. I think that one goes down to the wire, but just being in Knoxville, I think it could be a similar scene to what we saw Bama last year, just a back and forth game down to the wire. I think we pull that one out in the end. And then that cluster that I mentioned of 3 or 4 games that that could go one way or the other. I don't know if this is just the Negavol in me or the deranged Vol syndrome, but I think we lose a wild card game in there. And I don't know what it is. I don't want to predict it, but between going to the swamp, between going to Kentucky after that Bama game, even A&M, I think could be sneaky good. I just feel like there might be one game in there where we just don't come to play and lose a tough one. So hate to say that, but all in all, I think 10-2 would be pretty solid. I think if Tennessee can like tread water this year and stay relevant, and then bring in Nico next year when the playoff expands, they'll be in pretty good shape. So I'm going 10-2.
I want to say real quick, you talk about weapons, man. Squirrel White is a speed guy that's going to come in, I think, and fill that Hyatt role, hopefully. And Bro McCoy. So I think we reload at wide receiver pretty well. And then God, I'm trying to think of the other guy now. Starts with
Thornton from
The transfer.
Yeah, I think he'll be good. And then I think Keaton will have a really good year
Ramel
too.
Keaton. The
Yeah.
transfer. So here's the story I got for the transfer. I want to put this in real quick. So this guy played for Oregon. He's a 5-star wide receiver. Oregon played Georgia last year, right? And this guy was on the Oregon team. It was a good game. This guy's transferring to play at Tennessee, who he knows is going to play Georgia. He wants to beat Georgia. So I'm expecting a huge game from Thornton against Georgia. I think he transferred all the way from the Pac-12 to come to the SEC just to beat Georgia. So no, it's just a fun storyline to see. But he's a killer guy. I mean, he's a 5-star, experienced wide receiver coming in, immediately to a high powered offense. So good mention on him.
No, yeah, I love that. I agree with you. I think the wide receiver room is going to be really good. I think they have some potential, like, absolute breakout players. I worry a little bit about the offensive line. I know Cooper Mays, their center, is battling some health issues right now. And if he's not healthy for the Florida game, I'll be a little bit worried about that, just because I feel like center, especially in this offense with the tempo they play at, that's a extremely important position.
Crucial, man. Yeah.
So I don't know. I'll be interested to see how the offensive line looks. I think even against Virginia, we'll be able to. I know Virginia's terrible and we're going to kill them, but I think we'll be able to tell a lot about just like the rhythm of their offense and really kind of where they're at right off the bat. So we'll see. I'm excited regardless.
Good point, man. That's a great point on Cooper, because he's going to be crucial to the offense. I mean, with the speed that we want to work at, the center's got to be on the same page. So I agree. That's huge.
All right. 2 overs. I think
come on, Dawson. Come on down to the Overtown. You coming with us?
One of the big things that I've noticed watching UT over the years is like for like the last 10 years, they've played down to their opponents. All the bad teams, even if they beat them, they like barely beat the bad teams when they were, just okay. But it seems like Heupel kind of changed that last year. They were blowing these bad teams out. I think they're going to come out the bat and destroy Virginia. I think basically take the over on points and like their, on the spread for them against all these bad teams. So I think they're going to just, I think they're going to have receivers wide open all over the place, and they're going to have talented receivers anyways. They're going to really get Melton comfortable back there and confident, throwing, getting a bunch of kind of stat pad in those first 2 games. And then it's going to be Florida. And man, that is going to be, like y'all said, they always play close. That's going to be maybe at the very least by a point or a half point there and make it take Florida.
We'll see what the spread is, man. I bet the spread's going to open up. I would think we'll probably roll in there favored by 9.5. Sorry to interrupt you there, but I would think.
Yeah. Right now it's 7. Right now it's 7.
Wait, they already got the spread for that game up?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, they got early spread. So it's 7.
Yeah, so like maybe by half a point, and I think Florida like 7.5 might be smart there. But I think it's going to be a 1-score game. But I could see, like you said, y'all both said it. I could see them tripping up at Florida. I think I saw a stat, they haven't won there since 2003, which is crazy. This would be the year to do it. If Florida's supposed to be bad this year, this is a year to end that streak. But man, I don't know. But like then y'all said, there's that middle part of the schedule: South Carolina, A&M, Kentucky. I totally agree with y'all. I think they're gonna lose to Bama. I think I'm gonna definitely take Bama that game. Just revenge game at Bama. Everything. Bama's gonna be better. And man, I don't know if I can pick them to beat Georgia.
Come on, buddy.
But I think
believe in the ball.
I think it's more likely, I think it's more likely that they either lose both Bama and Georgia and beat everybody else, or they beat Georgia and then slip up against A&M or South Carolina or something like that. Still giving them 10 wins. So I'm also going to go over.
Let's go.
10 wins.
That calls for what, Dawson?
You know it. The little sounder here.
Over the hedge.
Let's get it. Go Balls.
Thank you, Kelsey. A little over the hedge sounder. Oh yeah, we're all over. Oh, that felt good. Guys, I was on the fence there, but y'all talked me into it a little bit. I don't know. I think Heupel's offense is going to be so good that there's going to be wide open receivers all over the place, just like last year. So
yeah, I like your pick too on taking the points. So I slammed Florida plus 9.5 last year, plus 10. I was at the Florida game. I was like, yeah, Tennessee's going to win this game. I had all the confidence like that, but it is going to be close. And that's just always a close game. So just for those future, like, people listening, always, I mean, Tennessee, Florida is always close. So I'll be looking at the points on that one. We'll probably visit it again, of course. But
especially if Florida loses to Utah, technically tonight, if this podcast comes out tomorrow, then that's going to jump up, -10. I would imagine that, it's going to jump up even more, and then you really jump on it. But, if Florida beats Utah, we'll see what happens. But, so we'll see. So maybe, I don't know, definitely wait, I guess, because I don't know. Well, we can throw that in there right now before we move on. Do y'all like Florida against Utah? Do you like them on the spread? Let me look that up real quick. The spread is 4.5 to Utah, and it just came out that their starting quarterback is most likely not going to play.
Utah's, is it?
Yeah. Now, I don't know anything about the backup. So that's one of those, like, I don't know. Is it going to be good? So I think it dropped from 7 to 4.5 once that news came out.
Is it at Utah?
It is at Utah.
I think it's a fascinating game. I think I think Cam Rising, Utah starting quarterback. I think with him, I would feel pretty comfortable taking Utah, but I'm like you. I have no idea who their backup is, but that seems like a huge break. So 4.5. I honestly don't know enough about Utah's backup to really like make an educated decision on that, but I think it'll be a good game. And also, if Florida, they obviously caught a break there. If they can find a way to win that game, then that third week against Tennessee is going to be chaos. Because if they're 2-0 and we're 2-0 going into that game, then their fans are going to be fired up. So, I'm excited to watch them play tomorrow. I think it'll be a great game.
Yeah, that's tough.
Let me see here. Last year, Florida won. Okay. That's right. They beat as a 7th. Okay.
I remember Utah drove down to score the game-winning touchdown, and they were on like the 2-yard line, and I think Rising threw a pick with 15 seconds left or something like that. So
now,
what was the final score last year?
29-26. And of course, Florida lost. I mean, I was gonna say they lost Richardson, but he wasn't even like. I don't know. I guess he was good, but he didn't seem like.
I mean, he's a starting quarterback in the NFL now, so he's pretty decent.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, no, that's tough though. I'll say, I think Utah covers.
Yeah, 4.5.
I think they cover. SEC homers. I love picking the SEC, but I do think they would cover that game. Florida just, I don't know. Dude, that's a tough one though. Jeez.
Yeah, a little bit of revenge, and it is back in Utah, so
maybe not though. Don't put me down on that. I don't like it. I'm laying off that game without their starting quarterback. Like, who's Utah? Like,
I know.
Do they recruit? Like, do they have 5 stars? Like, I mean, Rising's. He's obviously a great quarterback, but who else is there? So,
I don't know.
I'm laying off. Give me the under.
The over under is 44. So
that's so low.
Yeah, I don't think there's gonna be a lot of points there.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, I guess they're thinking defense, or Florida can't score, Utah can't score. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll give me the under on that.
All right. Well, we'll move on. I think when the points are that low, it makes me want to take the points with Florida with 4.5. If it's going to be a low scoring game, there's less chance, of being more than a field goal. But let's go. We'll move on. Like you said, none of us feel confident. Obviously, that's tough.
I would lean towards just taking Florida on the money line and having some juice, and just be going for the SEC to beat Utah with a backup quarterback and surprise everybody to have some fun. But I don't like the spread either that much on it.
All right, let's move to Bama. Lendon, I'm gonna let you start us off with Bama after I give some of this.
Fuck Bama. I'm kidding.
So,
not Lendon. Go Vols. But
all right. So Alabama, they went 11-2 last year. They missed the playoffs, obviously. Let me pull up their schedule. They lost to LSU. That's right. Yeah, LSU. That's right, in that overtime game. All right, so they lost to LSU and Tennessee. That's right. Obviously, Tennessee. The big game there here in Knoxville. And so I don't know. They lost Bryce Young, obviously that's a huge loss. They always lose people, and they always have just as good people coming back. It seems like them and Georgia both. So I don't know if it's really even worth talking about who they lost. I'm sure whoever they got coming in next is going to be really good. I think, like we've all said, I think Alabama beats. I'll let Lyndon go into it first before I get into any of that. So, Alabama plus 300 to win the conference. Pretty good money there, honestly. So plus 300 to win the conference. Plus 135 just to make the playoffs, and then plus 600 to win it all. Their over under for total wins is 10.5. So that gives them one loss. So they can go 11-1. Lyndon, where are you leaning here with Alabama 10.5? I'll let you start.
So Alabama, I know I like briefly mentioned it earlier, but I don't think this is like, your stereotypical Alabama, shoe-in national title team that we've seen a few times in the past with Saban. But it's still Alabama. I think they'll be really good. Obviously, Nick Saban, probably the greatest coach of all time. Their defense is going to be loaded. Obviously, the biggest question mark is I don't think we even know who their quarterback's going to be. I know it's between Milroe and that Simpson kid, and then that transfer they got from Notre Dame. I think it's still kind of up in the air, but from everything I've seen, it seems like that Milroe guy is probably going to start for them. And based on the like couple games that he got in last year, he wasn't super impressive. He's a great athlete, can run the ball. He's an exciting player to watch, but I think the verdict is still out on whether he's actually a good college quarterback or not. So that'll obviously be a key there. So looking at their schedule, obviously they have two really big games. That's Tennessee and LSU, and then kind of their third game that you'd circle on the schedule is Texas, and they have all three of those at home. So they have some pretty tough games, but they're all at home, which is pretty fortunate. And on the road, it's really A&M and Kentucky are their two like semi tough road games. And I don't think any of us would pick Kentucky to beat Bama on any planet. So it's really just that A&M game on the road is the one that, I think there's a decent chance they lose. So overall, schedule is pretty favorable. Like we said earlier, I think they beat Tennessee. I think they get LSU at home. And just because they're not, I think they have a few holes and some unanswered questions. I think they drop a game somewhere and go 11-1. If I had to guess, I think either at A&M could be a potential loss. I think Texas early in the year, I know that's at home, but I think that that could be a sneaky tough game, especially if they're still trying to figure out their quarterback situation and everything. I could see them dropping that one as well. So I'm going to take the over and say 11-1, mainly because I think their schedule's pretty favorable for them.
Okay. All right, put you down for the over here. All right. I agree basically with everything you said. Really looking at the schedule, I think they've got all their tough games are at home. I think they're going to win most of those. I think maybe they drop Texas, or maybe I think they're going to beat LSU. I think it would be maybe Texas, maybe like at A&M or Auburn or something kind of weird in there. But I agree. I think they're going to go over. I think they're going to win 11 games. And I think they'll lose one game. They might go undefeated even, honestly. If they beat Texas, I could see them going undefeated. I think the 300 is a good bet for the conference, for winning the conference. I'm surprised that that's such a higher odds than them just to make the playoffs at 135, honestly. But I think it's a smarter bet almost to pick them to go ahead and win the conference at 300. You get so much better odds there. If they do go undefeated, they lose to Georgia. Obviously, they're still going to make the playoffs. So either way, but I'm going to take their over. I think they're going to win 11 games. But I kind of agree with you. I don't think I'm going to pick them to win it all. Not yet. I'm not picking anyone to win it all. It's so hard at the beginning of the year. Something interesting, we were saying, they're going to have a new quarterback also. UT has a new quarterback. Georgia has a new quarterback. All of these top teams technically have a new quarterback, but it's kind of interesting. LSU is the only one that doesn't. And they we're thinking kind of maybe the 4th place team here. It's something interesting, but I think like Bama always reloads, so I trust them to reload, win 11 or 12 games. Dylan, Bama, what are you thinking? Are you going to stick with the over?
The whole state of Alabama sucks. I mean, it's terrible. They have terrible roads. Their government doesn't spend money on anything but the University of Alabama and paying Nick Saban. They don't care about infrastructure. They just care about college football. And they're good at it. They're very good. They're the best team over the past 10 years, of course. I think historically now they've probably got one of the most national championships in the common era. So hard to pick against. You guys are talking about, Texas and slipping up and maybe Texas A&M. And I mean, but let's throw Tennessee in there, even though we've all kind of said, okay, we think Tennessee is going to lose to Bama. That's still a very hard game on their schedule, like obviously. So, looking at the big picture of like, they're playing against 5 teams in the top 25 this year. You're right about them, playing 4 of those at home. But still, I really do think that at some point Saban is just not the guy that he was as much. And he's, with Kirby Smart's emergence coming out from under him and Georgia being kind of the new kid on the block and really not, they're a traditionally powerhouse program, but in the SEC, Georgia over Alabama now, that's crazy to see, opening the rankings. I think that they probably, I don't know. I think they lose 2 games this year. I really do. I think that they're going to go 10-2. I do think they beat Tennessee. But I could see them dropping, one of those games. I mean, LSU is out for vengeance. Did they beat LSU last year?
No,
they did not.
No, it was an overtime game. Yeah,
LSU did win. Okay, well, oh man, that hurts my stomach a little. But I've just been calling for Saban. I've been calling for his head. I've been saying it that he's on his way out. The new high-powered coaches are here. Saban, go ahead and hang it up. Go be the governor of Alabama. Go ahead and run for office. Do whatever else you want to do, but get out of the, get out of here. So I do like plus 300 is a juicy pick for Bama, but I'm going to take their under. I'm going to stick with it. Give them 10 wins. Hopefully hopefully Tennessee beats them. And, my storyline is there and Tennessee goes undefeated. So I could be wrong on the balls. I could be wrong on Bama, but if Tennessee beats Bama, we're looking very good on these picks. So I'm going to say under 10 wins.
Okay.
Or under 10.5. Sorry, 10 wins.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to LSU. LSU, they are at plus 460 to win the conference. Plus 300 to make the playoffs, and 1,200 to win it all. So they were 10-4 overall last year. They lost to Florida State, which was surprising to me. I think kind of to everybody last year. They lost to Florida State, but now we realize Florida State's a lot better. They lost to A&M. They lost to Georgia in the SEC championship. They beat Alabama. That was their big win. They're the only one here that has a quarterback in Daniels that's going to be back. Maybe their coach, is it Brian Kelly? I think I'm mixing up a name there. Yeah, Brian Kelly should, I guess, be more kind of oriented. But I don't know, man. I don't know if I trust LSU. They don't have an easy or tough schedule, really. It's pretty, there's some easy games, there's some tough games. I see them dropping the Florida State game and the Bama game, which means they can't slip up anywhere else. I just don't see that happening. I think they're going to lose one more time. I don't know. Maybe Ole Miss, maybe A&M. I don't know. You know what? I'm switching it up. I'm changing it up. I'm still going over. I just think they're going to be the powerhouse, but not I think they're going to win 10 games. I think they're going to lose to Florida State, but they could beat them, which is definitely going to give them the over. But I think they lose there, they lose to Bama, and then they beat everybody else basically. I think they are going to be better than last year, but still not good enough to challenge like Georgia. All right, I know they're a little all over the place, but I'm going over. Dylan, over under 9.5 LSU.
Yeah, they get it done against Florida State early in the year. That's gonna be a great game. That's the best game of the open the year. I mean,
Yeah.
2 returning quarterbacks, 2 powerhouse teams. So that's gonna be. I mean, that's gonna determine their whole season right there. If they win that game, watch out. They're gonna be just very hard to beat. I think with going to Ole Miss, that's a tough game. Good offense. Lane's got some stuff figured out down there. So, and then, like I said, I think Alabama gets them. Texas A&M, maybe. I don't know. Florida, I don't know. It's hard to pick against 9.5 wins, especially if I'm picking Alabama to go under. I think that maybe they get Bama. I don't know. I just like the fact they have the returning quarterback. So I don't know if it goes with my storyline, if everything correlates, but I am going to go over 9.5 wins for LSU as well. I think they've in the season 10-2, and pushing for a playoff spot.
Okay. All right. Lyndon, you gonna keep the train going over?
Yeah, you guys covered on a lot of good points that I agree with. So I think I'm also gonna go with the over there. I agree with you guys. I think they dropped that Bama game. I think they beat Florida State, although that should be a really good game. I'm excited to watch that one. I think playing on the road at Ole Miss, that'll be a tough one. And in that last game of the year, I know A&M kind of waxed them last year to end the season, right before the SEC championship, which was a little bit of a surprising game. But I think between those, they probably drop one of them and end up 10-2. I think Jane Daniels, he's probably the most proven quarterback in the SEC going into the year. So I think he'll have a good season. I know they lost a couple of their like big time pass rushers pretty early in the draft, so I don't really know exactly how well they'll be able to reload there, but I think they'll have a good defense. They always have athletes in their secondary, and obviously Brian Kelly, really good coach. So I'll go 10-2. I think they'll have a good year, but not quite, Bama, Georgia level.
All right, this calls for a little
Over the hedge.
All right, over the hedge. All three of us.
Let's go.
All right. That leaves us with our conference championship picks. I guess I'll go first. I'm picking Georgia. I think it's the smart pick. Minus 110 is not great money at all, but I think there's a reason it's like that. I think they're the best team in the conference, and they're going to keep playing like it. Dylan, who you got?
Man, this is like what I hate about how the conferences are set up, where they play each other, like basically like a team can lose in the regular season, still make the playoff, and then like the conference championship is going to be a team that's going to have 2 losses and miss the playoff potentially. And it's just like so frustrating to watch every year. But that being said, I think you're right on the money. Like, with, riding with, Georgia's the safe pick here. The conference championships in Atlanta, they could go 11-1. Even if Tennessee beats them, Tennessee, hopefully doesn't slip up anywhere else. But, no, I will never say that. I will never say that. Tennessee's going to win the SEC this year. Tennessee is back. Joe Milton's going to win the Heisman. He's going to stay healthy all year. He's going to get cooked up with his receivers. They're going to beat Georgia. They're going to play LSU maybe in the conference final. They'll lose to Alabama, and they're going to win out, and they're going to win the conference championship. They're going to go to the national championship. Come on, let's go, Vols.
All right, let's go. That's plus 1,500. So I'm cheering for that. 1,500 for them to win the conference. All right, Lyndon, you got less than a minute. Who you got?
All right, I'll be quick. So I think Tennessee is probably the best value at 14-1. But if I had to pick, I think probably Georgia, and that's solely because they have the easiest schedule of all time, and I think they're pretty much a guarantee to go 11-1, make the SEC championship. So I'm gonna go Georgia. Hurts my soul, but
all right.
Hope I'm wrong.
All right. Well, me too, but I hope I'm wrong too. But all right, we got 2 Georgias, 1 UT. We got to wrap up, guys. Thank y'all for joining me. Remember, listen to what we said. See if you agree. Don't forget to hedge those bets. Bet responsibly. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us. See you guys.
See you, boys. Go Vols.
Go Vols.